Good day everyone, I am Eunice E. Lastimoso, a fourth-year B.Ed student at Negros Oriental State University Shaton campus. Today, I will be discussing about creating inclusive environments. But before that, please be guided with our learning objectives. So at the end of the lesson, students will be able to define an inclusive learning environment and identify strategies that support learners with diverse needs. Create and present an inclusive classroom plan, applying at least 3 appropriate strategies that promote equal participation and support for diverse learners using a poster, role play, and concept map. Demonstrate respect and acceptance toward learners with diverse needs and backgrounds. So let's talk about creating inclusive environments. So when we talk creating an inclusive learning environment, the main goal is to make sure that every learner has a fair chance to participate and learn. Learners have different abilities, backgrounds, and needs, so teachers should not expect that everyone will learn in exactly the same way. Because of these differences, teachers need to remove possible barriers that may stop learners from participating. They should also respect these differences and provide the support that learners need during classroom activities. In the Philippine setting, DepEd promotes inclusive education by supporting learners with diverse abilities and needs in regular or inclusive classroom settings. So this reminds us that learners should be given opportunities to learn together while receiving the support that they need. So what is an inclusive learning environment? An inclusive classroom should be a place where learners feel respected, welcome, and supported. The teacher needs to make sure that the learners are given equal opportunities to access education and participate in classroom activities. Since learners have different needs, teachers can use different ways of teaching. These include differentiated instruction, universal design for learning or UDL, and collaborative activities. Teachers can also recognize the different cultures and backgrounds of their learners. They can include multicultural content and lessons, allow learners to talk about inclusion, and encourage them to understand different points of view. For example, if learners have different ways of learning, the teacher can provide pictures, discussions, group activities, written tasks, or other materials that can help them understand the lesson. In this way, learners are not forced to learn in only one way. Instead, the teacher provides different opportunities so that more learners can participate and succeed. So why an inclusive learning environment matters for every student? An inclusive learning environment is important because its benefits are not only for learners with special needs or learners from different backgrounds. It can benefit everyone in the classroom. When learners experience acceptance and respect, they can become more understanding toward their classmates. They can develop empathy, social awareness, and problem-solving skills. For example, when learners work with classmates who have different abilities or backgrounds, they learn how to communicate, cooperate, and help one another. Inclusive education can also help break down barriers and reduce educational differences. When learners from different backgrounds study together, they have more opportunities to understand each other. Instead of judging someone because they are different, learners can build relationships based on understanding and respect. Therefore, an inclusive classroom can help create a positive learning environment where learners feel that they belong and where differences are accepted. So who benefits from an inclusive learning environment? Now, let us look at who benefits from an inclusive learning environment. The benefits can be seen among learners, teachers, and the school community. For learners, Inclusion can give them a greater sense of belonging. They can feel that they are accepted and they are an important part of the class. It can also increase their participation because they are given opportunities to join activities and express their ideas. It can improve their confidence because they feel supported instead of being judged. Learners can also develop respect for diversity. They learn that their classmates may have different abilities, cultures, backgrounds, and needs, and these differences should be respected. So inclusion can help learners develop positive peer relationships. They can learn how to cooperate, communicate, and support their classmates. For teachers also benefit because they develop a better understanding of learner needs. By knowing what their learner needs, teachers can provide more appropriate support. It also helps teachers become more responsive in their teaching. They can adjust their methods when they see that learner needs another type of explanation, activity, or support. Inclusive classroom can also improve classroom relationships because teachers and learners learn to communicate and respect each other. For the school community can also benefit from inclusion. It can build a stronger culture of respect where people learn to accept differences. It can also reduce exclusion and discrimination because learners are taught to treat others fairly. Lastly, it can encourage greater participation of learners and families in school activities. So inclusion is not only helpful inside the classroom, it can also create positive relationships among learners, teachers, families, and the whole school community. So, in creating inclusive environments, there are proven strategies to foster an inclusive learning environment. To make sure inclusion possible, teachers need to use strategies that respond to the different needs of learners. The first strategy is differentiated instruction. Teachers can adjust their activities, materials, instructions, or teaching methods depending on the needs and abilities of their learners. For example, some learners may understand better through pictures, while others may understand better through reading, listening, or doing an activity. The second strategy is Universal Design for Learning or UDL. Teachers can provide different ways for learners to understand the lesson, participate, and show their learning. For example, learners may be given opportunities to answer through writing, speaking, drawing, or presenting depending on the activity. The third strategy is culturally responsive teaching. Teachers should recognize and respect the different culture, backgrounds, and experiences of learners. They can include different cultures in examples, stories, discussions, and classroom activities. This helps learners feel that their backgrounds is respected. The fourth strategy is collaborative learning. Learners can work together through pairs or group activities. They can share ideas, help one another, and learn from their classmates. This can also develop cooperation and better relationships among learners. The fifth strategy is flexible assessment methods. Teachers can use different appropriate ways for learners to show what they have learned. Depending on the lesson, learners may answer through written work, oral answers, presentations, projects, or other suitable activities. So these strategies give learners different opportunities to participate and show their learning based on their needs. After knowing the strategies, let us now move to the practical things that teachers can do to maintain an inclusive classroom. Maintaining inclusion requires continuous effort. It is something that teachers need to practice regularly, not only once. First, teachers should promote respect. Learners should be taught to respect their classmates regardless of their abilities, backgrounds, cultures, or differences. They should listen when someone is speaking and avoid making fun of others. Second, teachers should create safe spaces. The classroom should be a place where learners feel comfortable asking questions, sharing ideas, and participating without being afraid of being laughed and or judged. Teachers should also make sure that bullying, teasing, and other actions that can make learners feel excluded are not tolerated. Third, teachers should adopt the curriculum. Teachers can adjust lessons, activities, materials, and instructions according to the needs of their learners. For example, teachers can use pictures, simple instructions, hands-on activities, or additional support when a learner needs them. Fourth, teachers should explore cultural competence training to enhance the classroom. Teachers should continue learning about different cultures and backgrounds. This can help them understand their learners better and avoid unfair treatment. Fifth, teachers should incorporate student voice in classroom decisions. Learners should have opportunities to share their ideas, opinions, and suggestions when appropriate. This makes them feel that their thoughts are important and they are also part of the classroom. Sixth, teachers can implement assistive technology. Technology can provide additional support to learners who need it. For example, teachers can use audio materials, visual materials, reading support, or other helpful tools to make learning easier and more accessible. Seventh, teachers should focus on professional development for educators. Teachers should continue learning through training, seminars, workshops, and other activities. This helps them improve their skills and learn better ways to support learners with different needs. 8. Teachers should engage parents and the community. Parents and community members can work together with teachers to better understand and support learners. Their involvement can provide additional help and support for the learner. Lastly, teachers can establish peer mentoring and support groups. Learners can support one another through peer tutoring, group activities, or mentoring. For example, a learner who understands the lesson can help a classmate who is having difficulty. All of these practical tips can help teachers maintain a classroom where learners feel safe, respected, accepted, and supported. So to wrap up our discussion, creating an inclusive learning environment means making sure that all learners are given a fair opportunities to participate and learn. It is important because it can help learners become more confident, respectful, understanding, and willing to participate. It also helps teachers understand their learners better and helps the school community build a strong culture of respect. Teachers can support inclusion through differentiated instruction, universal design for learning or UDL, culturally responsive teaching, collaborative learning, and flexible assessment methods. At the same time, teachers should continue to promote respect, create safe spaces, adopt the curriculum, learn about different cultures, listen to students' voices, use assistive technology, improve their teaching skills, work with parents and the community, and encourage peer support. So as future teachers, our goal is not to make every learner the same. So instead, our goal is to recognize their differences and make sure that everyone still has a chance to learn and participate. So that's all my report. Thank you everyone for listening. So this is my references.